Hey y'all, so we recorded this before the election, and in light of everything that has happened, we wanted to take a moment to remind our trans viewers to take care of themselves. First and foremost, there's been a rise in fascism, not just here, but globally as well, and we want to make sure that you guys are taking care of yourselves and doing what you need to do to be safe, whatever that entails for you.
Mm-hmm. And for those of you who aren't trans, support your trans friends and loved ones, whether that's emotionally or financially, however you're able to do it. We as a community need to stick together, but we also need our allies to stick up for us as well.
Yes, exactly. That being said, we still think that I Saw the TV Glow is very powerful. And if anything, even more timely now. So go ahead and keep on watching and be safe.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Hey y'all, it's Two Goths in a Coffin. I'm Amari.
And I'm Jude.
And today we are going to watch I Saw the TV Glow and talk about it because it's November and we're leading on up to Trans Awareness Week that leads directly into Trans Day of Remembrance. And yeah, this is a really great movie that has a lot of deep trans themes. And so we're really excited to rewatch it and talk about it.
Mm.
And
Yeah. Alright, let's get right into it. So we're gonna kind of do it where we're watching it and then we're gonna pause when we feel that like we want to say something about a scene or a moment or something as it comes up. So that's gonna be kind of the format of this, but let's jump right into it. I love how much this is like Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Mm-hmm.
Even having a character named Tara, like, it's very Buffy. I used to listen to this song so much in high school.
Yeah. 1996. I was one.
I wasn't born yet. I was -1. Oh my goodness, that reminds me of I was talking to my coworker, because I always tell people about like when we're doing like returns, I was like, the craziest return I ever had was someone returned something from 2001, and she said, that's before I was born, and I was like,
Never say that again.
yeah, like, why don't you grow up? I'm sure that also refers to a lot of you watching, but it's pretty immature of you to have been born after 2001.
Yeah.
Honestly. Kind of cringe.
Yeah. I love all the lighting used in this film.
Me too. I love how moody, the amount of times that I'm describing something I like and I say it's moody.
Mm-hmm.
Also, who else's mom had them go in the voting booth with them? Because I remember doing that as a kid and it did look exactly like this.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. My mom would just be like, look at this, and then like, do the things. And how it's like. And now we just use pencil and like a paper and a pen.
Yeah.
Ugh, I love the pink vending machine being introduced in this scene. I kind of want to talk about something, but it's kind of pretentious.
You want to talk about it now?
Kinda. Like, and this is maybe weird, but like, there's certain spaces that are like classified as like liminal spaces, and one of the common examples is like a school outside of hours,
Mm-hmm.
where it becomes once a space is like that it is made for a purpose, like a school, is not being used for that purpose, it loses definition. and it becomes like a space like removed from space. And I do enjoy this meeting happening in that liminal space, which liminal is inherently like transitory, so it's like a thing that is waiting to be something else at the moment. And I do like it happening there.
Yeah.
Like this meeting in a literal liminal space, and like also they're like teenagers, which is also like also in a way liminal as well. So I just really like this like
that's a really
collision.
good point. I like that. Really, I don't want to sound pretentious, but no, that was great. I love that.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
You're a baby.
Not a baby.
That's so funny because that's how like we were literally just. I was like, if you're born even a couple of years younger, because like they're only 2 years older.
Yeah.
You're in school, right?
I mean, I literally do that to you.
Yeah.
Transform into something else now.
Yeah. See, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot they had this
Yeah,
conversation.
I forgot too.
But yeah, it's that liminal
It's a kid show, right?
space.
Think of it.
So just like that isolation. Also, I love the blue light that comes from the room with the father.
Mm-hmm. I just, this is why the lighting in this makes it is so good. Like the way that they very intentionally chose to light things.
You remember doing Halo, right?
The first mention of the inhaler,
Yeah.
the breathing problems.
Oh yeah, oh. See, that wouldn't work on me. 'Cause I'd be
Same.
like, you have to be inside before I drive off.
Yeah, same with my mom. My mom also would have been like, I need his mom's number, and I'm gonna call her and ask, and it's like... and when she drops you off tomorrow, I want to speak with her.
Yeah.
So black and mild.
Do I look like?
He's like, to reiterate, I'm in 7th grade, even though, like, my dad started smoking when he was 13.
Oh yeah, they're definitely were folksy did.
Yeah.
But this little baby.
Kid.
Are you sure it's okay that I sleep down here? Just be out by dawn. If my stepdad catches you, I'll break my nose again. And where will you be sleeping?
You're like, what?
Yeah, it's like,
Get me out of here. Are you safe? Like, what's going
yeah,
on?
it's like, that's why it was okay for me to be here. Is it okay for you to be here? Once again, though, another example of, like, oppressive patriarchy
Mm-hmm.
in this.
Yeah.
And, like, these specific type of needle drops are why I was like, this feels like if David Lynch made Life is Strange. Because Life is Strange
Oh my
has
gosh.
all of those, like, indie singer-songwriter, like, And then I want to talk about this, because I know a lot of people were like, I had seen some people talking about this, like, time skip and how the child Owen looks so different from, like, Owen 2 years later. And while, like, that, of course, is because James Shenbrun wanted to use Justice Smith, I also feel like an argument can be made that it's, like, the jump from being 12 to being 14 in your own mind is like, I was a completely different person back then. And I also think for like trans people, the way like we see our child selves versus like our adult selves, that's like a different person.
Mm-hmm.
So it is like having these actors who do look very different, I think helps emphasize that divide between like childhood to adolescence and then further adulthood and all that.
Yeah, no.
And it's like a purpose, like I think it has to do with a lot of my like I don't know, I got annoyed when I saw it, but a lot of it has to do with my frustration with like people coming into like horror or fiction or anything and like not wanting to play with the like the purposeful choices that like are not realistic but are emotionally like resonant. So it's like they don't look the same. It's like, first of all, man, it's a movie, but also like second of all, it adds like a huge divide.
Yeah.
You know? It's like, and how does that make you feel other than like you're like, that's not the same person, you know? I don't know. It's what I call like the cinema sinsification of like movie critique, where it's like that's not how science works. And it's like,
maybe you're being a little too...
Yeah, and like my argument of like
strict.
all horror specifically is like in some way, shape, or form surreal. So it's like people being like, that's not how it works. Well, we're in surrealism. Why are
and
you...
especially with this film itself, it really leans into that. So
very much does. Yeah. Also blue cotton candy. I will always point out a recurring color motif every single time it comes up.
Isn't that a show for girls?
Why don't you take you and your, once again, oppressive white patriarchy and shove it?
This whole bit of like all of it, what they're saying in the show to the you're watching something, parents come home, you quickly take
Been
it
there.
out. Where
yeah,
it's
that's why my face probably like kind of sad. It's like because it's very, I don't know, it's very real.
Yeah.
We're gonna make it through this film without me crying, by the way. Because I didn't cry the first time I watched it, for sure.
I was wondering.
They captured like awkward kids
no, all
who
of it.
don't really
From the-
know how to talk to each other but want to talk to each other, and then
from the very beginning, I was thinking that too. I was like, this is like very realistic.
What about you? Do you like girls?
I love this conversation so much though.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Maybe you're like Isabel. Afraid of what's inside you.
I remember there was this is such a weird specific like reference that I just remembered the description in there being very resonant to me as well, and it reminded me of this when I saw it, which was like, I don't know if any of you watched the back in the day when Philosophy Tube came out, like.
I don't know what that is.
Okay, well, Philosophy Tube, I said the YouTuber's name, like Abigail Thorne came out.
Okay.
Because, Abigail Thorne, for the first years and years and years of the YouTube Philosophy Tube, was like making videos about they have a philosophy degree, and they were just like sharing it with, they were like, I paid for this degree, but I'm going to tell you what's in it. And they used it and were very political. They were part of what was called BreadTube. I don't know if anyone remembers the very left-wing Marxist side of YouTube and whatever. And then it felt like from one video to the next, like, well, they made a video where they came out as bisexual. But when they were talking about being bisexual, they were talking about, like, this metaphor of, like, fishing and having something on the line, and you can kind of feel what it is, but you're too afraid to reel it in to know, to actually take a look at it, because it might be something super dangerous or whatever. So it's like this metaphor of, like, this thing that's under the water, and you can, like, see the shadow of it, and all you would have to do is reel it in and, like, know and see, but, like, it's the fear that stops you, and so you're stuck in this, like, perpetual in-between state of, like, not wanting to look. And when they were talking about this of, like, I know I'm empty inside, but I'm too afraid to open myself up and look. And it's like, I remember being so resonant with that as well, because I remember when I was really young, when I was, like, a younger teen, I remember having the thought that, like, I might be queer, and then having the thought of, like, I can't deal with that right now. And so just, like, not paying any attention to it until it, like, became way too big to ignore. And, like, yeah. So I think about when they had this conversation, I was like, and then the throwing yourself completely into one thing to obsess about, so you don't have to think about yourself.
Have to think about nothing too far, too in depth internally about what you're actually, like, really going through.
Yeah, you don't do any interpersonal introspection. You throw all of that into, for, in Owen's example, a TV show, where it's like, that's all Owen thinks about. And, like,
a lot of us have done that.
Yeah, where it's like you find this interest, and then you find other people who like it, and you just only think about that. And so, like, when it's like, I think I like TV shows as, like, the thing. It's because it's like, I need to fill everything up with this, so there's no room for me anymore. And I'm like, this movie captures such a specific, and, like, Jane Schoenbrunn is very preoccupied, it feels like, in their filmography with that specific era of, like, queer and trans teens. Well, this predates the internet, but it's, like, very online teens. And how that affects your development, or, like, how you and, like, identity with that sort of, like, upbringing and, like, adolescence. And yeah. So yeah, I just find that really that conversation was so,
it's really good. It really hits home real hard. I mean, this is a very tender, intimate moment. I was all in the zone. My cat is. But I do love this scene a lot.
Yeah. I remember there was a thing going around that was, like, scenes from something that aren't sex scenes, but are, like, it was, like, that are intimate, like, that are just as intimate but aren't sex scenes, like, something along those lines. And I immediately was like, the scene in I Saw the TV Glow where Maddie draws the tattoo on the back of Owen's neck, because, like, it's, like, all the touches, the slowly pulling the collar down, like, there's something very, like you said, like, intimate and also, like, very sensual about the action, and I love how it ties into early. And then the cut to this, of the scrubbing it raw, I think is one of the many expressions of shame that we see from Owen.
Because, like, she sees him, and then, like, I guess, I feel like it was too much. Like, it's too much at this moment. And I feel like that's what that was, like. And there's this brief moment of being seen, but then like I have to step back.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, I was gonna. Yeah. Sorry.
My cat.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
It's that feeling of like being seen. And I remember there was a turn of phrase I had a friend use once. So it was just like feeling of like a crab without a shell.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, ooh.
Yeah.
Like I'm like this is. It's
Scary.
It's very scary. And
It's very scary when you're not like ready to.
I also think
confront.
that there's a lot of shame,
Mhm.
like like all of it all tied up together, and like there's a very close relationship between like being seen and also like fear of like I don't want to say like, being judged, but it's like when someone can see you, that will make any like rejection or anything that comes later much worse.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like having, and also the tattoo in the show being like the forming of a psychic connection where they both like just know,
Mm-hmm.
and then like as a I feel like as a metaphor or like a parallel to like that very specific connection between like young queer people who are figuring themselves out. And it's
Or
just
just kind of like drawn to you.
yeah, drawn to you. Just like I don't know why I'm drawn to you, but I am.
Yeah.
And it's like then Owen scrubbing it off like I don't want to interrogate this further, which goes into the not wanting to look inside and see type thing. Ugh.
That's fine.
See? Sorry, in the general trivia, it's the same thing you see in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I missed it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll know when we get there.
Escape from the midnight.
I would like to actually see a few full episodes of the show. For real.
Seems kind of cringe.
Yeah, I want to watch it.
Close it down permanently.
I do think it's interesting that a lot of the patriarchal resistance that they experience comes from white men, because like patriarchy and like whiteness goes very much hand in hand. Even though anyone can perpetrate it, it's the institution of it itself is like very much rooted in whiteness. So.
Mm-hmm. And like gender, like the gender roles that are imposed
Yeah.
are very much based on the like
Ma'am? Are you?
the gender roles that were put in place by like European imperialists.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a very European gender that is being imposed, and so having all of these like perpetrators and like what's the word I'm looking for, like people who are like making sure that you're staying in line are like white men who are mocking Owen for no reason. The guys at work who are like, it would be
like
uncomfortable if you opened the door and you walked in on somebody, but like it's because Owen either doesn't express sexuality the way they want him to, or isn't like he's not a man the way they want him to be, and so they're mocking him for it. And it's really, it's like it's a very specific type of like mockery that white men do to keep men and those they perceive or feel should be men in line. And then there's like a similar type of mocking for people that they perceive as women, that to keep them in line, performing, womanhood or manhood the way that they feel they should be performing it. And there's something very in this movie like looming and foreboding about the figure of father, that it's like in Maddie's case it's like a threat, and then in Owen's case it's also a threat, but it's like
there's also like This father also just feels like kind of detached too. So I don't know. There's like a weird mix going on there.
There's something very it's just like this presence.
Like,
and
he
when
doesn't seem to care unless they're like falling out of line of how they view that they should be.
Yeah, and then after Owen is like basically like mocked at work, coming home and having the father stare like that feels like a reminder to stay
in line.
Yeah, especially with like what's revealed about the plot later in the movie. It's like, remember your place, remember your role. And now our friend said recently that they don't like it when a movie just has a whole that's not a musical, has a whole musical number. I, however,
yeah. Oh yeah. I forgot that discussion.
Yeah.
I also enjoy it. Especially this one. This is really good to me.
It's like, let's stop the movie for a moment and listen to some music. And I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
And then when we watched the movie in theaters, I didn't know Phoebe Bridgers was in it. And I was like, is that Phoebe Bridgers? She's just here.
I do have roommates though. It's at such a perfect time as this realization. It's like,
Yeah, it's the volume now. Jesus. That was one of the scenes where in the theater I actually cried.
they don't be crying.
No, I don't cry ever.
Me, on the other hand. And again.
Yes, white men.
2 white men.
The looming white men watching. Policing. That's when he was like, we need to talk to somebody, the police or my father.
I made it all the way
And it's like
Phoenix on the money I'd see.
two authoritarian, like entities. And it's like all these white men watching, being like, are you, stay in line, stay in line.
I'm trying not to like cry like a little baby because I don't know, it's hitting you harder this time, Rose.
I told myself this isn't normal.
A few moments later.
And then the cut to there's still time. Just screams forever. I also love the description or the
Movie theater
the
closed.
metaphor for transition in this movie being like really scary. It's like get yourself a coffin and put yourself inside.
But you have to like
And
allow
then,
yourself to like transition from this like who you were to like fully be who you actually are. So you have to kind of like kill that.
yeah, and it's like, and it's gross and it's painful, and then when you come out the other side, you're going to be so much happier.
Yeah.
But the road there is bad
terrifying.
and hard, and it's mostly because of other people. But you gotta do it for you, otherwise you're gonna die in there. It's like, oh my god, my heart still sinks at seeing 20 years later. The thing saying you are dying.
Isabel's dying.
The pink light is like stretching.
Owen?
look at me.
Sorry about before. Sorry about that before. Sorry.
No, this is still fucking me up the second time. Go fuck off. Whatever. Cut the cameras. Dead ass.
Produced by Emma Stone.
Cut the show.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see the tears still on your face.
Damn.
Oh my god.
I don't even know what to say. Actually, I was like, we're gonna talk about this, and I just, like, once again, I had no words because it's just, it hits like way too hard.
I love like, how do I describe it? So it's like, it's there. Okay, so like a lot of movies or media in general that's like about certain like topics like marginalization, oftentimes it feels like it is for people outside to understand. And this movie felt like it is not for you. Like, you can get something out of it, but this is not for you. It is for the people in that group. And this is from me to you. We're having a conversation, and I have to tell you something. And it almost feels like this movie almost in a way like feels to me like tough love.
Yeah.
It's just like, listen, you gotta just, it's like, I know
it's
this
very
is hard
like
to hear.
urgent, but also it does in a way that's like, it's like, but it's okay. Like it literally says like, you know, there's still
like,
still time, but like it's like, but also like
it's like, take your time, but take your time. It has to be when you're ready, but you gotta not delay yourself for other people.
Like, yeah.
Because like when, you know, they were in the thing and Owen's like, I have memories of like my family and whatever, and Maddie's like, that they put that there to distract you. And it's like, it to me felt like all these connections I could potentially lose by doing this, and it's like, and it's like, I understand that that's hard, and like there's a lot of like emotion tied to that, but like
the longer you wait, it's also,
it's like, you're gonna kill yourself for this. Like, you're literally dying.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're not even really living. So, and it's,
I can't take it. I literally can't. I also love, like, in the ending where, like, it's very, like, abrupt and sudden and random when, like, Owen has, like, this big emotion over, like, what's going on, like, in the middle of the birthday, and it's just, like, this very abrupt, loud, like, feeling that just overcomes you suddenly, and it's very real like that, because, like, you'll just be, like, you know, sitting somewhere doing your job, and then all of a sudden, all these, like, emotions is too much, and you can't breathe, literally, and you're like, fuck. Fuck, it's very sudden, and,
the I can't do this anymore
yeah.
point, like, boiling point is so... And I love how it was done here.
Yeah.
It's just... And then I do really love the... if I can find the post, I'll find where it is and put the person's name. But there was a post that's like, you found a way to live and you're full of joy. like, or something along those lines. I'll find it exactly and I'll tell you. The ending being what it is, and then that moment right before it where it's like Owen allowing themselves to acknowledge that part of themselves before having to put it away and then go back to work.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the saddest version of I'm probably non-binary, but I got a job, so I can't think about
it. Stop. Yeah. And then apologizing to everyone else at the end for their outburst and baby. You don't have to apologize. The only person you apologize to yourself is to yourself. Allow yourself to just breathe. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I love how this movie kind of became a real fire under a lot of people being I gotta do something.
I know.
I can't
the amount
let
of
this lie. The amount of people who were I called my doctor the next day. I couldn't just let it be.
Yeah. Which I think is very beautiful.
Yeah, and I think that's what the movie is. I don't think that's what the movie is for, but I think it's that's why I'm
that gentle nudge.
Yeah.
A little forceful, but
it's the mama
very
bird
loving.
kind of pushing the baby bird out the nest, being you gotta fly.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I had seen some people being because it is so very much for the group that it's portraying, that it doesn't say. I mean, it's also about repression, which is also why it doesn't use. It's you're trans. It's all very subtextual, but the subtext is here. You know what I mean? But there are people who are criticizing it for not saying, being overt about it. But it's the people who it's for get it. And
straight away.
Yeah, and I like that it's
sometimes not everything gotta be for everybody.
Yeah, I was it's straightforward. It's very straightforward. But it's not guiding you by the hand. It's like I said, it's for the group that it's about. And so they're I'd seen a lot of things from cisgender people who had seen it who were I don't fully get it, but I feel I'm part of it, and it's yeah, and I like it when specifically marginalized creators don't change their language or don't change their vision in order to be more accessible.
Because a lot of times these creators feel they have to, and it's just it's unfair. It's it really don't not everything gotta be for everybody, and you shouldn't have to destroy your vision to make it easily understandable and digestible for someone else. I had the same feeling. I love that it's really for us.
Yeah, and I feel it because in that same expectation, it's the expectation of marginalized people to be educators. And it's some people are called to that, but not everyone is. But just because you're not called to be an educator in this, to educate people who don't have this experience in this experience, it doesn't mean that you're not allowed to make art about it. That is in some ways I guess for lack of a better word, opaque, to people who aren't a part of it. That it's it's for who it's for. If you don't get it, that's fine. It's not necessarily for you, but there's also things that you can get from it, but that's not
that's what I was gonna say, because even while it is this is definitely for trans folk, it's it's very transparent, But for like us who can, read
Yeah.
into it very well. But
Let's see if you can see her.
oh, my cat doing things.
There you go. She's in the corner.
Being a
here.
menace as always, but
In the
she's
goth cat tree.
I know. But at the same time, I still feel like other folks can still like get a lot from this because the message is still like relevant to really anyone. It's just that a lot of the way that the messaging is happening, I can't figure out the way I want to word this, is very much like more understandable for like trans souls because there's certain experiences and feelings and whatnot that are really embedded into this story that are specific to like the trans experience. So yeah, but I feel like it's still very relatable to anyone.
Man, this is
Anyways.
such a good movie.
I'm gonna cry about it some more later.
Yeah.
It's
This movie is gonna be one of my standouts of the year.
yeah, for sure.
For sure.
For sure. And I just want to say, it is a horror film.
It is a horror film.
It is a horror film. And it's going to probably be my top one for this year. So just expect that when we give our end of the year. I doubt that it will change, but maybe it will. We'll see. There's still...
Yeah. I cannot explain the first time I saw it, the drop in my stomach when the movie ended.
Oh, yeah. I was
like,
pissed.
I felt like I had been, like, plunged in cold water. And I was just like, this is a horror movie. I've never felt more horrified. Because, okay, I want to get into something. Horror movies, there's different types of horror movies. There's different subgenres of horror. But at the end of it, at the very well, like, of a horror movie, it is meant to elicit feelings of course, fear, but also dread. Dread and tension and discomfort and disgust are all emotions meant to be elicited by the horror genre. So just because you don't necessarily feel
not getting
scared,
jump scared every 5 seconds.
if you feel like dread or all of that, like, that is a horror movie. And that is because horror is a body genre, so it's meant to make you feel something in your body. If you feel those feelings, that is a horror movie. Like, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And yes, it can be just straight up, like, scary.
Yeah.
And that is a part of the horror genre.
That's not the only.
That's not, there's multiple things it's meant to elicit. And so when people are like, this is a horror movie, and you're like, wasn't even scared. It's like, no, but did you feel bad at the end of it? Did it make you feel like... the only words coming to mind is dread. I gotta pull up a thesaurus and
I know.
more words. But it's like, yeah, did you feel that? Did it make you feel that, like, heaviness and, like, that just, like, disturbance of spirit, so to speak? And this is why I get frustrated when people refer to horror as not a serious genre. Because it is a serious genre, and I think it's an avenue to have very serious conversations.
Let's not do that to the horror genre. Come on.
Yeah. It's... I have too many specific... Listen, I form one-sided internet grudges all the time, but there's, like... I remember this person who I've had blocked for years at this point. I blocked them because they said that horror is not a serious genre and has nothing important to say.
What the fuck?
Like, it's an inherently unserious genre.
That's
and I was
like the opposite. What?
It
what
is
are you
not.
talking about? At least all my favorite ones are always the ones that, like, have... I don't know. Maybe it's because I gravitate towards the ones that always have a lot to say. And sometimes... Or mainly more, like, also, like, psychological in a way. And, like, just what you said, like, there's, like, this disturbance of spirit and just, like, dread. Ultimate dread. Maybe that's why I'm like, oh, well, I don't know. Well, my favorites
be saying a lot, be saying too much, and actually
Yeah.
stress me out.
Yeah. And I'm just like, I don't know. Critiques from the genre from people who do not enjoy the genre ultimately have nothing to say. And I think that goes for all genres.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, if you don't like it, you're not going to be able to critique it correctly.
Yeah.
So. Anyway, I can see my camera battery is flashing, so we're going to go ahead and do our outro, because I do not have a charger. So
yeah.
Yes.
Thank you for watching this video. We hope that you enjoyed it. Hope that you enjoyed I Saw the TV Glow. It's a wonderful film. Love it. Love it. As I said, it's probably be my top horror film of this year, but we'll see. And you should be sure to, subscribe to us, like the video, comment, and follow us on all our other socials below. To continue to tune in to our thoughts, what we have to say in regards to different horror films and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah. Alright. Bye.
Bye.